future first ballot Hall of Famer Albert Pujols. He needs 21 homers to get to 700, but he's going to be a platoon DH. So, nice. Steve, does Albert Pujols reach this milestone?
Look, this is going to be his last year. He said after this year, it is done for him. You're telling me the Cardinals don't want to get that milestone for him? He's also 63 RBIs away from tying Babe Ruth for the second most ever as well. So something else to keep in mind. But even with the platoon role, he's still had 17 home runs last year through 109 games between the Angels and the Dodgers. Now, like we mentioned, he's going to be in a platoon here. Corey Dickerson's probably going to be making a lot of those roles in the DH spot. But if Pujols starts to catch hot a little bit here, if he can get that 21 mark, you're getting 10-1 odds on this. I think the Cardinals are going to try to push for this. So I think this is a number that is obtainable, especially at the long odds that you're getting here.
I predicted Steve Buchanan will be making many predictions throughout the regular season here on MLB Network. Steve, thank you so much. That was fun.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I want to bring my cohorts, Dan and Carlos, into this conversation. So Steve thinks the King will get to 700 career home runs this year with the Cardinals. Carlos, do you believe in Albert Pujols doing this? Matter of fact, give me a specific slash line for Al. I want average home runs, RBIs.
I'll start with a slash line. I think he's going to hit 250. He's going to hit 23 home runs, which gets him over 700. He's going to drive in 60 runs. Look, I just think he's in great shape. I just talked to someone who played golf with him last week. This is very high-classified intel, okay? He looks great. He's in shape. And if he goes out there, Dan, and sits pitches, tries not to be too reactive, and gets healthy hacks at the baseball, he's going to go over 700 home runs. I got him.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I am so excited to see him back in a Cardinals uniform.
You don't believe?
My slash line is 280. 15 bombs.
Oh, no.
60.
Oh, that hurt.
Listen, and say however you want. That's what initially came to me. He's not going to get as many at-bats as he's had in the earlier part of his career, but I am ecstatic, and I can't wait till opening day. My eyes are going to be glued on Albert Pujols. I want to see him back in that uni.
Albert's going to play so much more than people think. He is. He's a draw, and he's going to be productive. He will reach 700 career home runs. Matter of fact, look at his numbers. 271, 25 home runs, 66 RBIs. I do have bad news, Cardinal fans. I have bad news. He's going to hit his 700th career home run on the road.
And only fitting it'll be in Wrigley, right?
No. Friday night in Los Angeles in September of Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, man, that's a crazy prediction.
That's when it's going to happen against his former teammate. Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer. It'll be on the road.
I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be a lot.
Oh, I can't
How many at-bats do you think he gets?
Doesn't matter.
He had a bunch of home runs and very little
He's going to
time.
produce.
I say somewhere between 300 and 400 ABs.
Well, guess what? He actually hit 17 home runs in 296 plate appearances last year. So if he gets over 300, 21 is not out of the question, man.
At Busch Stadium,
right there.
He's going to get a standing ovation every time he steps to the plate. And he feeds off that stuff, man. He does.
You predicted this, him back in the St. Louis uniform.
Thank you for reminding the audience of that, Carlos. A reminder, DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And this week, new customers can bet $5 on any team and get $200 by DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's from Steve Buchanan of DraftKings. This season of baseball is going to be so damn entertaining. We're likely going to see Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, Julio Rodriguez, Bobby Witt Jr., along with a full year of Wander Franco and Jared Kelnick. You know what? Let's bring Steve Buchanan onto the show. Steve, good to see you. Is this not the perfect show for you? It's nonstop predictions. This is right up your alley.
This is what I was born for. So this is absolutely the perfect show for me. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're part of it. Let's start with a young name that was in that tweet that you posted, Bobby Witt Jr. Such high expectations for this kid. I want to hear what you think. Over under 20 and a half home runs for Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, look, with these young rookies coming to the league, we don't really know what to expect. But let's look at what we've seen since he's been in the minors. And let me let you know, the sample size is not big in the minors. He just absolutely plowed through the minor leagues in 2019 and 2021. He combined to go 160 games in those levels, hit 34 home runs. And his numbers were nearly identical in AA and in AAA. He also cut down on the home runs, going up to AAA, which is a great sign for him to come up in the major leagues. He set the spring training world on fire. Love going over this number here. Let's hope we see some big things from one of the most dynamic players coming up in the league this season.
It sounds like Steve thinks he might push 30 home runs with that
Let's
kind of
go,
optimism.
baby. We love
like
it.
that. I like that. Well, speaking of homers, there are new faces everywhere, but let's just focus on the National League. I want to really draft a guy on my fantasy team that's going to lead the league in homers. Who would that guy be?
Look, Matt Olson going over to the NL East. You cannot sleep on him going over to the NL East. He has spent his whole career in the cozy confines of the AL West. Pitchers love going to the AL West. That is going to be a completely different story in the NL East. He gets a nice bump with that right field, coming in a little bit closer than it was in Oakland, 325 in Atlanta, and then we can't even talk about how well protected he's going to be in that lineup when you're going to be surrounded by guys like Ozzie Albies, one of the more underrated players in baseball, in Austin Riley. Olson's over-under in home runs currently set at 39.5. You're telling me he's not going to go over that number in the NL East? He absolutely is. He's going to be mashing all season long.
Wow. So Olson replacing Freddie Freeman. I want to talk about the Dodgers for a second because Clayton Kershaw didn't just get an honorary spot in their rotation for what he's done. They don't have as much starting pitching depth as people think. So they need Clayton Kershaw, future first ballot Hall of Famer, to be great. So over under 11.5 wins for Kershaw.
This just feels like such a low number here for somebody with the talent that he is. Obviously, we're not getting Clayton Kershaw in the prime of his career, but this is somebody who is more than serviceable to go over an 11.5 wins. Why is that? This Dodgers team, their over-under for the year is set at 97.5. Just to show how big that is, the second team in line is Toronto at 91.5. Would you feel good about taking the under on a team that is going to be close to 100 wins this season? And then we also can't ignore that the NL West last year struggled against lefties a lot. 3 of those teams, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Rockies, all ranked no higher than 19th in WRC plus against lefties last year. Kershaw, as long as he's healthy, should be able to roll in that division. He should be going over 11.5 wins.
Yeah, that's a reachable number for Clayton Kershaw. I want to talk about his former teammate and another.
Urias, Kershaw, and yes, Dustin may be added to that, mix if he's healthy, possibly around May. We'll see. This is just very difficult not to put him on top.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger, to me, is like Christian Yelich. If Bellinger bounces back and is the player that he was a couple of seasons ago, this thing is over before it starts. They're long gone. They're the best team in the division. They have more parts, better pitchers, better everything. They're a complete team. They're a machine. If Bellinger bounces back, they're long gone. The horse is out of the barn.
You think their starting pitching has so much depth that it's a surefire thing?
They're long gone.
Really?
Yes.
Because if there's one GM that was kind of sharing the same thought process that I have in terms of starting pitching being a thicker thing, is A.J. Preller with the San Diego Padres. To go get Sean Manaea when he already had a ton of starting pitching depth. You got Weathers and Paddock and Mackenzie Gore all fighting for the last spot in the rotation. And then you go get a Sean Manaea to go with Musgrove and Darvish and Snell. This team is so deep in starting pitching that I think the lineup will mash enough. I am going with the San Diego Padres. They have more starting pitching depth than the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I will say this. The acquisition of Manaea is big because, to me, Snell and Darvish have been too inconsistent throughout their careers. At their best, they're great, but there's too much up and down. If they pitch well and Manaea does what he's supposed to do, the gap is significantly closes. But that's a big if.
Okay. This is a division loaded with talent and young rookie phenoms. As for the National League as a whole, give me that rookie impact that you think could impact the race.
I'm going to have to go with Hunter Green. And just reason being, the way that the ball comes out of his hand is impressive. Very easy 100 right here. It almost seems like it's effortless. Now, when you have that type of fastball and you pair it up with nasty breaking stuff that hides off that fastball line. So, yes, strategy is going to be key for him. He's just a can't-miss type of talent.
I'm going to go with the Cubs and Suzuki, and I know a lot of people at home are going, but is he really a rookie? He's been playing professionally over in Japan. He's not exactly Chris Bryant type of rookie, but he's a polished player, and he does fit the qualification. So for me right now, he's the favorite.
The Cubs and the Reds are not going to be in the mix for the postseason. I know we got the expanded postseason. But the guy that I think will impact the race is the left arm of Mackenzie Gore. For years, he's been the #1 pitching prospect in the sport. This kid so far in the spring was electric, easily touching 99 miles an hour. They kind of abbreviated his leg kick. It was over his chin for a while. They shortened that. They've smoothed out his mechanics. He might be in the bullpen to start the year, work his way into the rotation. Mackenzie Gore, remember the name. He is going to impact the race in the National League.
One thing I do like, when you stay with teams, you stay with them. You have not jumped off the Padres ship. If it continues even to sink a little bit, you're pulling yourself back up.
With that said, let's talk about Albert Pujols. When we come back, we've got some individual futures bets. Yes, Steve Buchanan of DraftKings is going to answer this question. Will the King reach 700 home runs this year? That's next.